Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for stopping by the channel. So for this video, we're going to be checking out the latest release to come from the Italian micro brand Venezianico. And on the wrist today, I have their Redentore Enigma. It's a gorgeous dress watch with a fume green dial and a regulator complication. Now, I've actually had the pleasure of meeting the owners of Venezianico at last week's Toronto Timepiece show, and I have to say, I think this brand has come a long way in a few short years. I think these watches are coming in around the $625 US mark, and for that price, I think you're getting a really good value and a very unique design. So why don't we flip perspectives now, and you guys can take a close-up look at this Redentore Enigma in the studio. So now that we're in the studio, we can take a closer look at this Redentore Enigma with the beautiful green fume dial and regulator complication. So I'll quickly go through the specifications for this watch and the overall case dimensions, tell you some of the things I like, and then some potential points for improvement. Starting off with the case diameter, it is a 40.4 millimeter case diameter, which is done in 316L stainless steel. Taking a look at the side profile, between my thumbs or the lug-to-lug distance here is only 46.5 millimeters. In terms of overall height, it is 11.3 millimeters. That's from the bottom of this beautifully etched in case back, showing off some Venetian architecture, and then to the top of a flat sapphire crystal, which does carry anti-reflective treatment on the underside. I'll quickly mention also that between the lugs is an even 20 millimeters. You can see that the strap that's supplied here has curved spring bars to conform to the case, and it's a beautiful strap at that. This is actually genuine aged Italian and Tuscan leather, and they brush it and they somehow color match it to the dial very well. It also has a nice taper to it, so it is 20 millimeters at the head of the watch, and then it goes down to about 16 millimeters before you hit the high polish buckle that does carry the Venezianico logo. You get a nice floating keeper, and then flipping it on the underside, you can see it's more of like a comfortable calfskin lining, but they brand it as well. And then before giving you guys a wrist shot, I do really just want to focus in on that beautiful architecture, because this brand is based out of Venice. They really do like to highlight their heritage. And then you get some other information on the case back as well, like the fact that this uses an automatic Seiko movement. It has sapphire crystal, 50 meters of water resistance, and as well as the model information there too. And here's a quick in-studio wrist shot, just to show you how this watch would wear on a 7.5-inch wrist. That is 19 centimeters in circumference if you're using the metric system, and it wears extremely comfortable. I didn't actually weigh the watch, but because it's a dress watch, it's definitely under 100 grams, I would say. And you could also choose to accessorize with different 20 millimeter straps. Although, again, I think that this aged Italian leather just works perfectly with the dial for this particular timepiece. So taking a look at the dial, I mean, you do have a fume or gradient dial. There's also a bit of a sunburst effect to the green when you have it out in different lighting conditions. So the visual aesthetics are very nice. You're getting a lot of depth and dimension to the dial based on the regulator design as well. Now, in case you're wondering, the regulator complication is really done to separate out the minute and hour hands on different axes. So it is technically going to be easier to discern between the two and give you an accurate read of time, because some watches that have all of the hands stacked on top of each other can cover up important information on the dial, like if it had a date or if it was a chronograph and it had a bunch of subdials. This is a very clean aesthetic, and it's a kind of a unique way to actually tell the time. Now the priority for this regulator is towards the minute hand, which is elongated, and you have a nice raised minute track that's there at the very periphery. And then off center towards the 9 o'clock position is an hour subdial with a 24-hour scale. Now, if I'm going to be critical, I will say that it is a bit hard to discern what hour it is at a glance because you're cramming in all 24 hours there, but it is a good way to tell between, morning and night. And the subdial itself is executed very nicely, and it is raised, as is the applied Venezianico logo towards the 4 o'clock position. And the only text on the dial is Venezianico and the Redentore in a really nice script that's there. So overall, very clean aesthetic. I like the use of asymmetry and space on the dial, and you're not going to find this on too many timepieces. Now, powering this watch is an automatic Seiko NH39A caliber. So that caliber does have a 24-hour notation on the dial, and it's a no-date movement as well, which is nice. It does have manual winding, which you can do in the neutral position, and it's only a push-pull crown, so you only have to pull it out once, and then it actually hacks the movement or stops the balance, and then you can set to any reference time that you want. You're only getting 50 meters of water resistance, but I do think that is more than sufficient for this style of watch. And then with this Seiko NH39 caliber, it ticks away at 3 Hertz like most other Seiko calibers. That's 21,600 vibrations per hour, and you're getting about a 41-hour power reserve. Now, if we move away from the dial and focus on the case, you can see they did a very nice job of high polish on the bezel and on the tops of the lugs. And then if you take a look at the side profile here, very nice horizontal brushwork that's done on the flank of the case. And then the crown itself is beautifully engraved with the Venezianico cross logo. And it does have some nice crown guards as well. So I'll say that the finishing for this watch at the price point is very impressive indeed. Of course, you do get the really nice engraved case back, and then a perfectly contoured strap that color matches the dial very, very well. So at the end of the day, I think you're getting a very complete package here if you're looking for a dress watch that has a fairly unique way of telling the time. In terms of features I do think that this strap punches well above the price point, as I mentioned. I like the design language in terms of the dial features and the case back as well. And I like the fact that they're using a fairly unique complication that not many people are going to have on their wrists. Now, in terms of potential points for improvement, I do think that reading the hour hand is a little bit difficult to do at a glance, or in particular with my aging eyes. And it would have been nice to have quick release spring bars on the underside of this strap. Although that being said, I don't see you swapping out the strap very readily because it is that good, and it does color match the dial to a T. And I do really want to thank Elena and Alberto, who I met at the Toronto Timepiece Show last week, for sending in this watch for the review. I don't have to return it either, so I want to be transparent about that. But if you do have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comment section of this video. And hey, if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel as well. It does help me out, and that way you'll stay notified of new reviews. So that's going to about wrap up this video. Thanks for hanging around to the end, and I can't wait to catch you guys in the next one.